This is the Orangey and the Orangey SWAC Sports Network. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. It is red beans and rice Monday. Some people may have an extra piece of chicken or steak with their red beans and rice. If you FAMU, it ain't happening this weekend. You got a good piece of humble pie from the Delta Devils, baby. Yes, you heard it. You seen it right here first. Mississippi Valley went into Bragg and beat the brakes off of FAMU, ended their 23 home game winning streak. And I, for one, is extremely excited. I told y'all all season, Valley was going to beat somebody, and Valley beat the brakes off FAMU. Yes, the Valley, Big Valley, them Delta Devils. And if you didn't see the game, I got the highlights coming up for you. And we're going to talk about what I consider the craziest scenarios going around about Jackson State and the fight that happened. I don't like talking about brawls, but it happened and it is what it is. But let me turn my music off. Across 110th Street, baby. Let's bring back some memories. But let me get back to this before we get to any highlights or the little black known SWAC fact or any of that stuff. I'm telling you now, there was 4 fights this season so far in the HBCU world. You had Perry View and FAMU fought. You had, was it North Carolina Central or the MEAC fought? They had 2 fighting games. And then you had the Jackson State and Alabama State. The craziest stuff that I've heard so far was they didn't learn anything that Coach Prime taught them. This would have never happened under Deion Sanders. Some people are just damn crazy. You don't even need to go back that far. In 2021, Southern and Jackson State fought, and I was embarrassed when they fought then, and I'm embarrassed when Jackson State and Alabama State fought. But for you to sit there and say that it wouldn't have happened under Coach Prime or Deion Sanders, whatever you want to call him, man, you're just dumb and ignorant. Don't do that to these young men. They handed out suspensions today. You had 7 players from Jackson State suspended. You had 9 players from Alabama State suspended. So what are we really doing? Instead of you saying it wouldn't have happened under this person, we got to find a way to lose and win with grace and dignity. I understand about male competition. I'm a young male. Well, was a young male. I'm kicking 50 now. I've played just about every sport. I won some and I lost some. I've been angry. Yes, I wanted to fight. But I ain't never was played on the college level where I risked losing, not only playing in a game, you risk of losing a scholarship. You take a risk of being kicked off the team. So somebody has to sit these young men down and let them know, this is way bigger than you, bro. Young brother, don't go out there and show your ass. You still got to go home to your parents. Now, what you think your parents going to say? They see you on TV fighting like a cat and a dog after you won a game or after you lost a game. We win some, we lose some. But you get up and you fight another day. Nobody knows the name of the 7 players. If you do know the names of the 7 players, I would like to know. Because this is going to be crucial. This is Alcorn versus Jackson State week in Lorman. The chitlins will be live and direct and smelling good in Lorman. This game means a whole lot. It's a family affair. If I'm not mistaken, Coach T.C. Taylor's wife is from went to Alcorn. You have families divided like that in a good way. Now that game does get testy also. Now you don't think that Alcorn is going to try to push your buttons, knowing that you already about to go to the SWAC Championship game? You will be hosting the SWAC Championship game. That's what I don't get about some of these people. You got to understand, this game can help you in so many ways. You may not make it to the next level, but number one, you will have if you stay in school and do the right thing, you will have your college degree. You can benefit from that. You can go into sports journalism, sports medicine. You can take that degree and go off and be a teacher. You gonna be a lawyer, doctor, scientist, whatever you want to be. But sitting out there fighting on that football field, young brothers, this ain't it. And to the goofy people in South Carolina State, Why y'all so pressed about what happens at Jackson State? Worry about playing in that whack-ass MEAC. Yes, I said it, whack-ass MEAC. You only got about 5 or 6 teams left. Your conference is hanging on like a 67-year-old rotten tooth in somebody's mouth. You're barely making any headway. So don't do us. Don't do the SWAC. I was very disappointed. I had to get this off my chest. And yes, I'm ranting and raving because I don't like to see it. We are better than this. The competition level is high. We got to understand you cannot risk your eligibility, your performance on somebody mad because you beat them. Alabama State, you should have took that loss on the chin. You have nothing to hold your head down about. Jackson State was averaging, 35 points a game? You held them to 14 points. What is there to be ashamed about? Y'all out there with your helmet off, throwing punches. I seen people putting folks in headlocks. For what? Now your school is a $25,000 in the hole for a fight over you losing. We always talk about the SWAC is underfunded. We need money, this and that. Now you got to pay $25,000. Each school does. To the 9 players that's suspended on the Alabama State team, they probably don't care. Just because you're not going to the SWAC Championship game does not mean everything is over with. You still got pride to play for. Excuse me. You also have your school that you're representing. That school somehow, some way found you to play on their team, scholarship, walk on, or whatever it may be. Don't embarrass them, the school. Don't embarrass yourself. All you see on the internet is a bunch of fights, like we hoodlums or thugs or gangsters. No, these are young men that are trying to find their way in this cold world, because it's a cold world. Because once you leave the confines of the confinement of that HBCU, coming out here to this real world, it's a whole different ball game. You ain't meeting up doing second lining and doing a bus stop and all the other dances you do in the cafeteria once you leave out of that HBCU. You coming to where the road meets the road. And it's people that's not going to like you just because who you are and what college and university you went to. We got to get this through these young people's head. This wasn't the right way to do it. I would never show that fight. I don't care about the fight, but I do care about them young men potentially throwing their careers away over a game that both teams played quite well. We can talk about the officiating. You know, I'm a huge critic of SWAC officials, the officiating crew. But I will not sit by and let another game go by when you have to fight because you lost. You know what they're doing now for the Cricket Celebration Bowl? The losing team right now, if you lose the Celebration Bowl, you have to go straight to your locker room. Only the coaches will be allowed to meet at midfield and shake hands. Is that what we really want? We got too much going on in this world for us to be out here fighting each other over a football game. Project 2025 is real. They're trying to shut down every HBCU they can. And they're going to show videos like this crap that happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, I'm sorry. We don't need this stuff. We have to cut this crap out. We are better than this. I will keep saying, yes, the SWAC is better than this. I'm the only person that I know of that roots for Valley every weekend. Now, what if I wanted to just go on a rampage and tear up something because Valley loses every daggone weekend? That's stupid, right? Everybody say you crazy for fighting over Valley. Makes no sense to fight over losing the game. Alabama State, Jackson State, who won the game. Say what you want to say about me. Bruh, you going home, you going right back to that dorm room in Montgomery and cry. I'm going to get on this bus and go back to Jackson, and we're going to hoop and holler and have us a good time all the way home. That's all should have happened. But Alabama State, check yourself. Jackson State, you got too much to lose. Because if you do that crap this weekend coming up, you are going to miss the Celebration Bowl. And I know Coach T.C. Taylor is going to put his foot down. And I know, and I really expect Jackson State to come out and do better. and show me better. Now, let me try to see if I can get to these crazy highlights. Well, I guess it can't come on here. Well, it said, now I said I don't have the access to this feature. But that's all I wanted to say. Coming up Wednesday, I will be back on my regular stream, and I will actually have the highlights of the Valley and the and FAMU game. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow and do that. But I had to get that off my chest. If y'all know any of them football players that play for Jackson State or any SWAC team, send them a message, talk to them, and tell them, young brother, it ain't worth it. Because if the SWAC wanted to, they could have imposed a penalty, not only just the school, they could have did it on players. They could have kicked players off. The SWAC commissioner was at the game. You know how embarrassing that is for the SWAC commissioner to present your team with a trophy and knowing that, hey, I'm about to suspend some of your boys. 7 players is a lot. And depending on which player it is, you might want to watch yourself. Hopefully it's not a starter. But then again, who knows? I don't know why the animosity is so hard for Jackson State against some of these teams or fan bases. But I can tell you this, Jackson State went down to Montgomery and they took over that stadium. They was singing, they was dancing, they was doing what opposing team's supposed to do. Come down there and support their team and be on that sideline. But what we end up seeing was a bunch of crap at the end of the game. A well-fought game. You shut down Irv Mulligan. Now, it's not been too many teams to do that. Irv Mulligan only had, 50-something yards? Your running back for Alabama State had over 138 yards in the first half. Through the last 5 games, Jackson State held opponents to 0 points in the second half. Alabama State, you was the first team to score on Jackson State in the second half. You scored a touchdown, 7 points. So the game was what we wanted it to be. But that melee at the end disgusted me. And it should disgust everybody as a SWAC fan. And I had to talk about it because I didn't talk about the Prairie View fight. I don't care about the other conferences because that is not my lane. I only do the 12 SWAC schools. But the Prairie View and FAMU fight was just as embarrassing. I will not show it. I'm not going to show the Jackson State fight. But I will say this. I expect more from these young men. These institutions of higher learning that you go to, you know the blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors and our parents and grandparents did to keep these colleges and universities going. Put that through these young people's head. We do not need this stuff. The first thing when you click on headlines, the brawl. It wasn't about Jackson State clinching. It wasn't about Southern clinching. What makes clicks and likes on YouTube? The brawl. The punches. It wasn't about Coach Graves, his first year at Southern, taking a team, taking them all the way with 3 different quarterbacks, taking them to the SWAC West champion, being the SWAC West champion. Excuse me. It was all about a fight. So we got to do better. I'm sorry that I had to come on here and rant, but I had to get this off my chest. I like to do highlights. I like to sit there and talk junk like the next man. But fighting over a football game, not in my SWAC. That's what somebody needs to say. Not in my SWAC. Yes, fight hard on that football field. But when you get up, that's still your brother. Some of y'all in the same fraternities out there fighting each other. And y'all know it, and I know it. Cut this crap out. Let's do better, SWAC fans. Let's do better, SWAC players, SWAC coaches. When I play football, even when I play football in the Marine Corps, when that coach put that hand up like this, nobody went past his hand. I don't know what you got to do to control those young men. And I know it's hard if somebody hits you or push you. These folks was probably out there talking about mamas, sisters, and everybody else. You got to let that stuff roll off. Alabama State is not playing for the SWAC championship game. Jackson State you are. You have to show more discipline. Show pride. You have a coach that took over a program that lost 61 players. 2 seasons later, you playing for the SWAC Championship again. That program was built from the ground up. Alabama State, same with you. You were predicted to win the SWAC this year. You had a hell of a run. You was on your 5th string quarterback, and you took it all the way to damn near the last game. Show some of that SWAC pride. That's all I want to see from y'all. SWAC pride. Pride within yourself. I know some of your mamas and daddies have called y'all and said, what the hell was you out there doing, boy? But that's all I have today, bro. I will be back tomorrow. And thank y'all for joining. Please hit the like button. I'm sorry to rant, but I had to get that off my chest because I do not like to see us painted in a negative light that we already painted in. Y'all have a good night.